On the 20th of March, Iran will open the Iranian oil bourse with trading denominated in euros. This is the beginning of the end of the US dollar as a reserve currency imposed on the world. This absurd and obsolete status that they've had that allows the US to control everybody's oil, to skim off the top of world trade, is now coming to an end. And I think it's important that this be done peacefully. This is not your interest at stake. This is these Wall Street guys. Right? It's not your purchasing power at all. But one of the reasons that they're so hot to attack Iran is because there's this 20th of March launch for the Iranian oil exchange where the trading will be done not in dollars but in euros. It's a very complicated issue. I hope we can talk about it maybe later. Now, my theme for the rest of the talk, and I'll try to go through this. Let me just ask the management. How long can we continue?
You can go as long as you like.
Okay, fine.
You can go as long as you like, and also apparently it's fine with the microphone. But
wonderful.
Try not to get too loud because they might end up hearing it in the middle of the bigger piece. But it's been fabulous so far.
Let me just point out to this. My argument is that the terrorism is conducted through military drills and terror drills, and this is what the average person must learn. This is why my hop is not just, I like Miller Lite and you like Heineken's. No. It's absolutely crucial, because if you don't see it this way, you can't tell what's coming and you can't fight it. If I believe in unanswered questions or lie hop, I'm essentially leading you like lambs to the slaughter. Whereas what I'm calling on you to do is to activate yourselves to fight against this $500 billion plus apparatus. Now, we're entering the world of drills, maneuvers, war games, exercises, simulations. Okay? And they have all this jargon, mainly to deceive. Command post exercise, CPX, staff exercise, simulation, tabletop, sandbox. The main difference is that some of these drills are done electronically or with models or in rooms with committees, whereas in others, you have real planes, real tanks, real troops moving around. And then you have the terror drills, which are supposedly different, but you'll see that one becomes the other relatively easily. Now, the purpose of drills is inseparable from deception in many cases. The classic one is, I'm the Prime Minister of Fredonia. It's time to have our summer drill. So I'm deploying my 10 divisions of Fredonian army troops to the border of neighboring Slobovia. The Slobovian media says, what is this? And I say, well, of course, this is merely our regular, peaceful, defensive summer drill for our troops. So the 10 divisions get along the Slobovian border. I give the order. They attack, surprise attack, and it succeeds. That's the essence of a drill, to deceive the other side. But now, can we go back? Right? Without, okay? Now the other kind of drill is to deceive your own side through a coup d'etat. And it can be done also because you're conduiting an operation through the bureaucracy. But not everybody agrees with you. Some do, but some don't, or some may not. And the ones who don't agree with you might try to oppose you. So you've got to be ready for that. So what you do is you conduit it through with a legal drill, with a legal name established, and because of need to know and compartmentalization, you can make sure that the people who might oppose you don't find out about it until it has already happened. Here's the classic case. We have a loyal officer here. We have a coup traitor here, terrorist coup traitor sitting here. So the loyal officer looks over and he says, hey, wow, crashing planes into buildings, what's that? And the traitor can then say, hey, wait a minute, that's Amalgam Virgo 01. And by the way, you don't have a clearance for that, so don't ask me any more questions. There it is in a nutshell, because these guys sit at consoles and one group doesn't know what the other group is doing. So drills can be used as this kind of a cover. One definition of a coup d'etat is one part of the government attacks other parts of the government. That's what a coup is. Right? One part is witting, organized, determined. The other part is unorganized, not knowing. So government, yes, but not the whole government. A part of it. The problem is when you look backwards, it looks like they all did it, because if the coup succeeds, they all pretend they were part of it from the very beginning, and they all say, yeah, right, terrorism, let's go get those terrorists. So you can use this also to fool dupes and fanatics. One classic is a dupe is recruited for a drill. He may be told it's a drill, he may be told it's just a job. He's asked to do it, and then something blows up, and he's a terrorist. Something like that, I think, London, July 7th of last year. So when you're dealing with these drills, there is what I call the ghostly objectivity. You get to this, you say, is it a dream or reality? Is it a drill or is it killing and war? And it goes back and forth. Because when they design the drills, they say, we want to make these drills as authentic as possible. We want to have the greatest possible degree of fidelity. Yeah, the greatest possible degree of fidelity is people really die. Next. Now, Nico Haupt, I believe, in the room. Back in the summer at the Truth Convergence in Washington, he said, my terminology is too poor, that there are types of patsies. I say patsies, dupes, fanatics. He said, let's have more differentiated terminology from the lower levels of awareness to the higher. You have toys are dupes who do not even know they're in a drill. You have team players or extras who think they're in a drill. Supervisors, coordinators, and consultants, some of them think they're in a drill, some of them know it's a real attack. Passive plotters, they know the attack is real, but they are also susceptible to being liquidated by higher-up masterminds, MI5, MI6, Tavistock Institute. That was the London case. So anyway, in that sense, 9/11 is not just the day of the drills, it's the day of the dupes. Apologies to Cardinal Richelieu. So, part of the government attacks the other part, and the part that's been attacked either falls in or they get machine gunned. But it never came anywhere near that, because that would take some courage, right?
Can I ask a question?
Very briefly.
Paul Wolfowitz, who was Deputy Secretary
Yes.
of Defense,
Right.
suddenly disappeared.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Wait,
You
no,
can...
and he went to work for the World Bank.
Right.
Was he pushed out? And
And
what,
you're a thing
why
to
did
say
he go
back
to
here.
The question is just a brief question about Wolfowitz and what happened to him. I think he was moved out because he was a lightning rod for attacks. He was very controversial. He was also a failure. And remember, the World Bank job, you can kill many more people at the World Bank than you ever could at the Pentagon. It's incomparably more. And we remember McNamara killed millions in Vietnam, but with the World Bank, it gets up to the tens of millions, the hundreds of millions, over many, many decades.
Still alive, McNamara?
Yeah, he still is. Now, if you want to learn about 9/11, at this point, I would say don't start reading books about, the history of Saudi Arabia. Afghanistan, doesn't help you at all. This is an interesting book. William Arkin, Code Names. Now, of course, he's an NBC consultant, writes for the Washington Post. He has an interesting column called Early Warning. We need have no illusions about Mr. Arkin, okay? He's not one of us. This is a limited hangout, but in an area where you're dealing with this tremendous cascade of code names, it's good to have a basic map, right? You can't tell the agents without a program. Okay, here's the program. Now this is the concept that I most want you to try to absorb. If you want to have a successful terrorist action, you're going to want to, and if it's really ambitious, right, a simple assassination may not require this, but something really big like 9/11 generally does. You're going to want to use government resources to do it. You're going to want to conduit or conduct it, pass it through the government military security bureaucracy. What you want to do is to design a drill that looks on the whole very, very much like the terrorist operation that you want to carry out. And then small changes will change the drill into a real massacre and an attack. So you camouflage your criminal intent. You allow the terrorist provocation to be staged through a series of seemingly minor departures from the drill scenario. And again, you look at these things and you say, wait a minute, where does simulation end and reality begin? Here in the city, we had gas dispenser drills. Back in August, I had the honor of being on WBAI to tell people that this was a bad thing. They said, oh, we have gas dispensers in Midtown Manhattan last August. We're dispensing a purely inert gas. They said it's a gas that will remain down in the crevices for 3,000 years, but forget about that part, right? The simple stuff. Gas dispensers to see which way the wind will blow the poison gas if somebody comes in with poison gas. Now, wait a minute. All